There you are, there it is. Becky's farmer.
Tomatoes.
Basil plant.
I was thinking a little bigger. She's right, we have very abundant basil.
She set aside there.
We don't set aside the 10%, we let the seed of the basil fall into the pot.
There you go.
So it does it, kind of nature does it on its own. All right, so taking all this together, the conscious giving and receiving. The giving and the receiving are equally as important. So we hear a lot about giving, but it is equally important to receive. They work together, they both go together. The tithing, the 10%, for me, what I know now, it is a big enough leap of faith to see if I really believe it or not. Because a lot of people hear, 10%, you want me to give 10% of my income? Well, the fact that you have the reaction of tells you where you're at with this whole idea of God is everything. You see, the tithing just to me, it puts my feet to the fire. Do I really believe this? Or do I only kind of, sort of? The 10% idea of tithing becomes sort of like training wheels after you get used to it. There used to be a man here named Win Kessler. Anybody remember Win Kessler? Him and his wife were long-time members. And when I first took over, and I was pretty adamant about us as a church tithing to our organization. And Win was a little bit vocal about it. If we can't even pay our bills, how can we do 10%? I said, that's exactly why we are going to do it. Because we are going to say that we're going to get ourselves in the flow of circulation. And he was a little combative with me that particular day, but I said, no, I'm not teaching it to my congregation if we're not going to practice it. So he comes to me the next day and he says, you know, my wife reminded me that all the good we have in our lives is because we practice tithing. We actually do it in our own life. And she started to point out this and all these things in our life are because we do this. And then he said, and when I came to remember that 10% might sound like a lot, he says, but I have 90% to live on. People forget to look at the other side, 90% to live on. I offer this to you as a tool, certainly not as a mandate. Everybody has to find their way. Here's how I found my way. When I first went to the Science of Mind Church in Huntington Beach, I was one of those people who put the $5 in. I could have done much more than that, but I didn't know that they needed it. I put the $5 in. After I took class, I'm like, oh, you don't have a mother church that supports you? Oh, guess what, folks? We don't have a mother church that supports us. It's from what we do here. So once I learned that, I'm like, okay. So I started to give a little bit more. Once I learned this, I started to give a little bit more. 2%. I started at 2% of my total income, not off the scraps. Some people say, oh, after expenses? No, because that's crumbs. That's crumbs. You see the mentality? I don't want crumb mentality. I want big, abundant mentality. So I started with 2% of my total income. And I did that for a while. I practiced that for probably over a year until I got really comfortable with it. I realized that the world did not end. I did not end up homeless. It was okay. All right, let's try a little more. All right, let's try 5%. You know, it's scary at first. 5%, okay, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to get my mind right, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And I practiced it long enough to realize the world didn't come to an end. I'm not living on the street. And as a matter of fact, my life started to have this happen. Where'd that come from? How did that get here? All these good things coming into my life that sometimes, honestly, I did not know how they got there. So much good started coming in. I said, let's go to 7, etc., etc., etc. And now today, I love it. When I have that excitement, I think, well, we just paid our property tax, which should have looked like a big deficit in our bank account. How did that get there? How did that new, wonderful number get there? I've proved it to my personal self enough to know that even if I have temporary, because I do, I'm human, I have that moment where, wait a minute, what do I know? And I return to exactly what I'm telling you. This is the biggest tool that there is. It's more important for me really that you understand that the conscious Conscious is so important. Don't do it out of obligation. Do it because you really want to test the principles. In the Bible it says, prove me now herewith, that I will not open the storehouse of heaven and pour it all onto your life. That's what we're talking about. Prove me now, test it. Consciously give from your heart, from your goodness, and consciously receive and let it come in. That's the biggest practice that there is. All right, now I'm going to invite up Bonnie, because she has a fun way to practice. And I want her to tell you about it in her own words.
Hey,
Peace and love to Bonnie.
This is my joyful and triumphant envelope.
Yeah.
And for the third year in a row, I am doing this savings plan, which I take a look at how many weeks are there in a year, really? 52. So on this card, I've numbered the weeks. And today is the fourth Sunday of the fourth week. So $4 this morning went into my envelope. At the beginning of every week, I put that number, the number of the week, in here. Last year, at the end of the year, I had $1,440.
Yeah.
10% of that, which came back here to Harmony Center.
Yeah.
And this is how we do little trips and vacations and fun things, and it's our joyful and triumphant fun. Sometimes, because if you wait till December, there's week 51, 52, 49, and 50. That's a lot of money to think about doing all in 1 month. So sometimes I do the first week. Last week I put in $10, so I kind of, understand what I'm saying, going back and forth.
Bounce around the weeks.
I bounce around the weeks so that I don't have a big amount of money at the last part of the year. But I always pay myself first, sort of like Reverend Sean said about making sure there's money for the crops for next year.
I love it.
Thank you. So how many of your jaws dropped when she said $1,440? Just by going 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Now I did it too. I did it just slightly different. I did it from 1 to 30. When I got to 30, it's like, okay, now that does get a little bit more challenging to go 30, and then the next week would be 31. So we went to 30, and then we started to go backwards. So we went to 30, and then we went 29, 28, 27, 26. The bottom line is we had 960 at the end. So you can play with it however you want to play with it. It wasn't that hard to do. Just the consistent principle or practice of putting it in the envelope. Takes a little bit of discipline. $960. I just rounded off to 1,000, of course, and 10% of that came back to the church, and the rest of it went into a play fund, where we're going to go take some kind of a vacation. It's a wonderful how-to, so that you get to see, I really can do this, I can put this aside. It creates a discipline in us, and it creates a wonderful, joyful, oh my gosh, look at all this that they saved at the end of the year. And I don't know how Bonnie does this, but I did not count it until the end. Because it's really fun when you realize how well you did, but you also get to give yourself a pat on the back for the discipline that you did all year long. It's a discipline. Let's not be afraid of that one. All right, the very last one, which I actually think is the most important. Time in the silence to consciously connect with the source. We got to remember that this world we live in is all form, it's effect. The form and the effect is like the getting that I talked about earlier. It's not about getting, it's about being. And the only way that we truly get to the being is this: to sit quietly every day and to remember who we are. To remember that we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. We are one as the source. To spend this time communing and to say, who am I? What my source is. And to begin to feel that daily so that it starts to show up in our life. I was going to put it first, but I wanted you to end with that because this tool is so powerful. You and I could read a book about flight. We could listen to the most brilliant pilots in the world and listen to them talk about flying. But that would not qualify us to be a pilot.